there was some breaking news today. Reportedly, according to ESPN, you were on this a few weeks ago that you heard through the grapevine that Andrew Wiggins is making a comeback, and it's true. Andrew Wiggins is expected to be back with the Warriors as early as this week, and he very well could be on the bench in tomorrow's matchup. So, do you think Andrew Wiggins being back, probably going to get maybe the last game of the season, he may be back, or he could be playing in the second to last game of the season? Do you think Andrew Wiggins being back on that team can fix what the Warriors' monstrosity of a season has been and enable them to make a deep playoff push?
Maybe, but I think it's a little unlikely because he's coming back so late. Come on, there's only a couple of games left. The guy hasn't played for months. And this is a chemistry issue there, you know. I think that it takes a few games for these guys to get back in the groove. And they aren't going to have the time to do that. So maybe they... who would be their first round playoff opponent?
Let's bring it up. They right now, it would be the Kings.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. You know, they can't fool around much with the Kings.
Right.
Kings have had a very good season, right? And it's going to take them a few games to get their chemistry back together. How about Gary Payton Jr.? Is he back yet?
He's back yet.
Okay, so you get Wiggins and Gary Payton Jr.
Right.
They find the chemistry really fast. Then I do think the Warriors can make a deep playoff run.
I still don't see it. The last time Andrew Wiggins was on the court was February 13th. He hasn't been here in over 2 months, or about 2 months. The problem was that they were still, I think, 5-13 on the road when Andrew Wiggins was still on the team. Now, they didn't have Gary Payton. That's perfectly fine. Gary Payton was a great defensive asset last season.
I think they picked up their game, though, overall. The players that have been there recently, they played better. I think they played better.
Well, when you lose last night, or was it? I believe it was last night, to a Nikola Jokic-less Denver Nuggets team, and you have...
That wasn't good, I admit.
You have Curry and Klay Thompson combined for 7 of 30. You know you're not doing too well.
Well,
that's from 3, by the way.
Yeah.
They each shot 28 total shots. Curry made 8. Klay Thompson made 9. They combined for 46 points. They can't. They like these games are like they shot 21% from 3 as a team. That's horrible. You're not going to win any games. I don't care. Let's bring up the sayings again.
Well, that's why they lost.
I don't care if it's any team on this list well, I guess it's on the graphics. It's to my right. I don't think you can beat any one of these teams if you shoot 21% from 3.
You know, but that's true. But also, the turnovers and the personal fouls screwed them up too. Right? They had 15 turnovers.
They always foul.
They only lost by 2. Okay, they had 15 turnovers. Denver had 11. So there's some points, right? And personal fouls, they had 22. Denver had 17. So there's more than 2 points in those two statistics, right? There's probably 10 points in those two statistics. They need to play better defense. They need to control the ball, handle the ball better, and they need to watch out on their fouls.
Well, there's an increase in turnovers, a 9% increase in turnovers from last year. They're ranked 29th in turnovers.
Yeah, well, that's a problem.
27th in personal fouls committed. And what I've been saying all year, they're a small team, and because they're a small team, they don't have a big guy to constantly get fouled. They're 30th in free throw attempts. So they're not going to the line. They're fouling constantly. They're turning the ball over constantly. If they don't shoot the 3 because they're 4th in 3-point percentage, 1st in 3-point attempts. They average 43 3-pointers attempt.
But
if you miss your 3,
I think those statistics are all very valid.
I think it's important.
Okay, very important. The team did win the NBA championship last year against a very good team in the Boston Celtics,
True.
Right? And basically, they have the same team headed to the playoffs this year, right? It's basically the same team. Relatively the same team, right? Who are they missing? Iguodala? He hardly ever played.
He doesn't play. Otto Porter Jr.
Otto Porter Jr. Well, I don't think he's a big piece. Okay?
I mean, look at it now.
Yeah,
You also got
they got basically the same team.
True. Yes.
They got a great coach.
That's true.
They should be able to step up in the playoffs and play better.
You would expect that.
Yeah. Those are things all the things you mentioned that they're terrible at this year, they are things they could do better at, right? Turnovers, they could do better at that.
Right.
Fouling, they could do better at that.
Yep.
Right. So 3-point shooting, that game the other night, that's an anomaly. Generally, they shoot pretty well 3 points.
That is true.
Where do they rank this year in 3-point shooting?
In 3-point percentage, they're fourth.
So they just had an off night.
Well. So I have a soundbite I want to play. This was Steve Kerr post game after they were up by as much as 15, ended up losing by 2. This is Steve Kerr in the post game conference.
Middle of the second quarter, we had total control of the game, and we stopped playing. We just lost our focus at both ends. Gave up a ton of offensive rebounds, missed box outs. Offensively, had several mindless possessions in a row, throwing the ball away. A bunch of shot turnovers, just bad shots. I give Denver a lot of credit. I thought they played really well defensively, but we had control of the game mid-second quarter and just handed that back to them, and then it's a game, and we gave them life, and they took advantage of it. From mid-second quarter until those last 4 minutes, we were mindless out there. We weren't tough enough, not disciplined enough, and ultimately didn't deserve to win the game.
That's what I'm saying.
That's an honest coach. I like that assessment. He's very frank in his assessment of the team. He doesn't pull any punches. I think he's a great coach.
Here's something that I heard, and I think actually, as crazy as it may seem, I think I think this could happen. Jordan Poole was supposed to be the next coming. He was supposed to step right in when Clay and Curry are 1 foot out the door and gonna retire. Jordan Poole is supposed to be that next guy, the third Splash Brother. He keeps getting his minutes restricted. Dante DiVincenzo, who is a small guard who can play very inconsistently, had almost double the minutes, 32 minutes to 20. So
for this one game,
for this one game. But Jordan Poole, he's been inconsistent basically throughout his entire career, especially this season. We all remember the punch that was thrown. Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole.
That had an impact on their season. I continue to think that and say it.
I agree with you. But I think Steve Kerr... I feel
bad for Jordan Poole on that,
Well, I
don't think that,
Kerr,
you know what? He probably thinks that the team didn't step up for me on that.
Well...
What happened to Draymond Green as a result of throwing that punch and hitting the guy? He got nothing. They didn't do anything for him. And
he got fined.
They showed when it happened, the players are just standing around.
Right.
They didn't do anything.
Right.
How does that make Poole feel?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
But I do think Steve Kerr knows what his team is. His team runs through Steph Curry and Draymond Green. He would back those two guys up because Draymond Green is, probably the best defensive player on that team. Regardless if he's 6'6", he will take on a Jokic, he'll take on a KD, he'll take on a Jason Tatum, and disrupt them for probably 85 to 90% of the time, disrupt the game. He's also, in large part, an offensive catalyst. Get the ball moving. You see a lot of the possessions. He gets the rebound, he's pushing it up the field with a lot of speed, getting the offense going. Curry, we all know Curry is the best shooter in NBA history, one of the best point guards in NBA history. Whatever you want to say great about Steph Curry, that's what he is. Klay Thompson, he's dealing with injuries, hasn't been great. He's been better than he was last year, a little bit better, at least shooting. He's not the great defender. Steve Kerr, I believe, still has a little bit of faith in him. I could see going into next season, I don't care what people say about the extension that Jordan Poole got. I think if Jordan Poole does not get a bigger role, especially in the playoffs, look for the Warriors to move off of Jordan Poole.
Oh, yeah?
Get some picks back. And try to find another talent because I think Steve Kerr will stick by. Curry's
Poole might be happy to leave.
He may be.
Yeah.
Draymond Green is asking for a big contract.
Team didn't have his back. Team didn't have his back when he got punched by Draymond Green. I don't know. Well, maybe what did he say to him? Did he say something? He must have said something.
They were talking back and forth, and then
I don't know. There wasn't much that came out about
Jordan
what was
Poole
said.
pushed him, and then Draymond Green socked him. Basically, not it was a
no, but Green
a hell of a punch.
Green was in his face.
Yeah, no, he got in his face. Jordan Poole pushed him off, and then Draymond Green hit him with a 1-2, and he was out. But I honestly think, because I think Steve Kerr, I don't think he's on the hot seat. I don't think he's anywhere near a hot seat.
Absolutely not.
I think he knows Curry's probably got 3 to 4 more good years. Probably 2 of those are really great. I think Draymond Green, they're going to have to deal with a contract situation whether or not they're going to let him go. Klay Thompson, he's not the defender he once was. I would probably give him 1 or 2 more really good years.
They have to bring somebody in.
I think they do need to bring somebody in, and how can you maximize that while
Who would
keeping,
they bring in? Who do you think they should bring in?
I haven't even given that. I haven't given any sort of thought. I just thought, sort of briefly, and I thought it was interesting that to get the most, like you said, they need a talent. To get probably the highest quality talent without giving up your core 3 players or most of your future, Jordan Poole. He's a relatively good shooter. He was supposed to be the next Curry and Klay Thompson. He was supposed to be the 3rd Splash Brother. Has been playing great this season. I mean, he shot 13 shots, 17 points in 20 minutes. That's really good. But why did he only play 20 minutes? Dante DiVincenzo, 18 points, 8 of 12 shooting, 1 of 4 from 3. Jordan Poole's 0 from 3 for 3. I think they may move off of Jordan Poole, regardless of the extension that he signed. Same thing with Wiggins.
Maybe they'll do that, but irrespective of that, next year they got to bring. I think they need to bring somebody in.
They do, and the Warriors are spending uber amounts of money. How to get off one of those contracts? Get rid of a guy who just spent a bunch of money on Jordan Poole, and you could probably also maximize the.
Depends on who's available.
Right,
I don't know who's available.
You don't want to overpay just to get off a guy.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what the Jets need to do.
We'll see what happens in the playoffs. I'm not counting them out totally. They won it all last year.
With Andrew Wiggins back,
they're gonna the coaches can make them rise to the occasion here. But I do think Wiggins is coming back too late. I think he should have been back a week ago or so. Just like KD. KD's had a few games now.
6 games.
6 games. And look what he's done. I mean,
and that's without team chemistry.
Yeah.
That just was how good of a player KD is.
I think if they really get that going, man, I just think they'll be. I don't think they can be beat. We'll see.
I think it's going to be interesting. I think with Wiggins
great move by the Suns to get him.
It is a great move.
A really good move.
I think with Wiggins back, they'll be a little bit better defensively.
I mean, they have him for a number of years too, right?
3 years, I think.
3 more years.
3 years, yeah.
Wow, that should be. They should be a powerhouse, I think.
I agree with you. The Warriors are 9-30 on the road. They play, I think they have to
figure out how to fix that next year.
It makes no sense. Like we were talking about when they were 0-7 on the road, very, very early in the season. I couldn't wrap my head around it. They just won the NBA title, and like you said, they brought back everybody. This is essentially the same team.
Yeah.
With at the time 2 pieces were missing: Otto Porter and Gary Payton, who were the main pieces. They still had Bielitsa, the center. He wasn't really a huge piece, but the 2 main pieces were Otto Porter and Gary Payton. They lost those. But they weren't great. Gary Payton was pretty good defensively. And he's still a short guy. The Warriors are a very, very small team.
I know. That's an issue. They need to bring a big guy in.
And right now, I
don't know if there's any really good big guys in that they can bring in.
I'm going to bring in the standings one more time before we close out the show. You're going up against a Kings team. I'm going to bring up their offensive rating.
Coached by a former coach of the Warriors,
Mike Brown. Yeah,
Mike Brown sat on the bench.
He's done phenomenally.
Sat on the bench with Steve Kerr for a number of years. There actually was the head coach for a period of time when Kerr had these back problems. He's a very good coach.
He is,
and he knows the Warriors inside out. So they're going to be very hard. It's going to be hard for the Warriors to beat them.
I would say, personally for me, I would give Mike Brown Coach of the Year for what he did with the Kings.
What were they last year? They were nothing, right?
They were not a very good team. But
did they bring in some guys
to end the playoff drought that the Kings have had? They've had, I think, the longest droughts in major sports history. Your first season in, you are like the highest scoring offense. They're first in points per game, first in offensive rating. You don't play great defense, but that's the problem with the Warriors. The Warriors are going to need to shoot phenomenally in a 7-game series against the Kings, and they still can't win on the road. So you can't play defense. You're going up against the highest scoring team in the NBA. You lose in 5.
You think so?
I think you lose in 5. Personally.
Mm.
That's
We'll see.
my take on it.